Misinformation, like other types of information, doesn't respect borders and boundaries. Misinformation and fake news is a global problem. So it really takes a global approach and a global solution.
Yeah, everyone bring laptops, by the way.
Yeah, well, I'll be taking the charger.
Kat's going to be taking the printer. I think it should be really, really good. I mean, I've delivered up north, well, I don't know if you can call Birmingham up north, but I've delivered up north before. The only thing I'd be worried about would be our southern accents versus their northern accents. But other than that, I think we're going to be quite good. It'll be quite interesting to see their thoughts.
I think it's important that we reach out to all the demographics because the UK isn't made up of just one type of city. And unfortunately, a lot of what happens is we focus in on London so much that a lot of the UK, a lot of young people's voices feel like they're not being heard.
Large A4 sheets, sticky notes. That's Damasso's thing. Damasso is our keynote speaker.
We're really in love with Shout Out UK. We're thinking about getting married.
He lives in New York and works for the news literacy program project, as well as freelance journalist. We've done Media Minded for about 3 times now. We did it once at the US Embassy in London back in January 2018. And we did it once again in April, where we went to Birmingham, Newcastle and Belfast. And now we're doing it again in Glasgow, Cardiff and Manchester. Is it successful? We'll see next week. It's going really well, yeah. And media literacy couldn't be more important now.
Yeah, just booking our taxis to head on our way because everyone else is busy. So I'm taking that side of things. Well, the Media Minded tour is essentially trying to get the kids in the UK in sort of 3 different areas more focused on looking at the media critically. So rather than just sort of looking at social media, looking at different articles, we actually want them to think, okay, where do these come from? What is this? What is the media today? How has it changed?
Our goal as a youth-led network is to help young people learn more about the dangers of misinformation and disinformation. We do this exactly through media literacy. We organized a series of workshops across the country during which we covered what media disinformation is, what fake news are, and we presented young people with techniques that would help them distinguish between misinformation and reliable news sources.
With regards to media literacy, it's so important because it does not take that long to see if an article's garbage or not. It just doesn't. Like, once you know what you're looking for, it starts triggering your emotions because you don't like a certain ethnic group, or you don't like a certain thing that the government's doing, or you don't like a political party, and your article's making you feel a certain way, it's probably meant to make you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Stop reading those, or read something else to balance your view.
A lot of students, may have heard about the concept of fake news or misinformation, but they don't really know how to talk about it or express it. So my job is to kind of tee that up and give them a little bit of awareness of how misinformation manifests itself.
We call it misinformation and disinformation as opposed to fake news because, especially in the 2016 presidential campaign and the Brexit referendum, lots of people started misusing fake news. They started calling sources which are just opposite to their opinion as fake news. So what we're seeing is that news that are verified are called fake news just because they do not correspond to a specific person's political views or a party's political views.
Thank you all for being here. My name is Matteo from Shout Out UK. Just a little quick brief about what we do. We're a youth news network that tries to get more young people like yourselves involved in politics, discussing it, engaging with it through political literacy as well as obviously media literacy, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. Because we do live in a world where news can be created easily, quickly and turn viral in a matter of seconds.
Being able to tell the difference between what's real and what's not is actually a core part of being a functioning citizen in the 21st century. And if you can't do that, then you're actually illiterate. It's almost like you can't read and write if you can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not. In the run-up to Brexit, Russian trolls were sending thousands of messages trying to convince people to vote leave. You had people who were from outside the country who were trying to interfere with your politics, with our politics. So that happens in real life. When you're 12 or 13 years old, the last thing you're probably thinking about is the information ecosystem. You're thinking about, boys and girls and playing footy and what are you going to do on the weekend. I think the work that we're doing is trying to help them to understand why it's important to be aware of this and how being aware of this actually impacts the rest of their lives.
We're looking at the credibility of the source, so
Yes, to try to work out whether we think it's trying to be factually balanced or whether it's a biased opinion piece. So, yeah.
we're thinking it's quite biased because there's quite a lot of emotive language in it.
Yeah.
With reference to the whole clickbait thing, the title is very it does seem like it's only a minor part of the article, just sort of designed to pique your interest. So again, that is not one I would rush back to for information.
What really stood out to me today was the fact that when you're looking at a news article or media, you can check back on the images that they're using, because some of them will be edited to sway you in a certain direction of your opinion.
I think particularly at the moment, it's a time where we're seeing quite a lot of division in the world. There's a lot that's dividing us, so to have stuff like this where we're kind of being more together, it's more about being united, is absolutely fantastic.
The group today during the sort of Manchester one have been really funny because they sort of we had a good sort of repertoire going back and forth, and we were discussing sort of how it's actually not them that they have to worry about, it's actually their sort of parents and the baby boomer generation, because Gen Z sort of are a bit more savvy when it comes to the internet and digital media, whereas the baby boomers and their parents, they're essentially saying, are the ones sharing fake news. So they were saying to me, cool, so I'll go back to my mum and tell her how to actually look at news.
I am curious to the extent to which the older people would allow their children to teach them. I think it's a problem that we face in society, that just because of your age, you're not taken seriously.
It's been very interactive, which is what I wasn't expecting, which is why it was more fun than I had anticipated. It was interesting to hear what people from other schools in different areas thought. The general casualness of it, it's a nicer learning environment in school, I'd say.
We're really happy that we're able to support Shout Out UK for the third year running now on this hashtag Media Minded workshop. We find that, you and I, we also have the same level of access to information that these young people do. And more often than not, we are ill-equipped to tell what is real and genuine information and what is not. And we have seen a real need and demand for programs like this. Hopefully we make a cadre of better informed media consumers.
To make sure that throughout the UK we have got all young people being media literate, all young people being political literate, it means that we're going to ensure that the UK has got a political and media literate demographic throughout Generation Z, not just a southeastern London based, having a greater understanding, and then the rest of the country being left out.
We give the voice to the next generation, or ultimately we allow them to have a voice in society, which they often wouldn't have.